Hello and welcome to the show. We are here on a BeamNG, a drive with 3 more cars taking on the West Coast Rally. We start with a Grand Marshal. This, though, is a coupe version of the car. Quite an interesting looking vehicle, this one. A really quite cool configuration, kind of alternative body style to the car. Now, there are all the same specs with this as you have with the normal Grand Marshal, so engines and suspension, etc. Now, the Grand Marshal we ran down here was the custom, the supercharged V8. Very, very powerful but difficult to drive. I've gone for the sport version here. Same V8, however, not supercharged. My hope is that perhaps a little bit more control in this might actually make it easier to drive. Whether being easy to drive is going to be faster down this course or not, I don't know, but we are going to give it a go. I also don't know how the tyres compare between the pair of them. Either way, the Grand Marshal previously was actually quite good down here, if I remember correctly. It was a car that could be thrown around quite nicely, and this coupe version seems to be fairly similar in the ways of the handling department. Of course, it's always going to struggle a little bit on the dirt. That is to be expected from a road car. And the sport version has a automatic gearbox and not one that I can do anything with. That's less than ideal. Oh, we're gonna wiggle and snap the wheel off. Messing around with the gearbox and didn't get the car positioned. That was a bit silly. Didn't realise it only had a auto box shoved in it. Well, that should be interesting to see how it goes. Less power and an auto box. Although it's not bad to drive, I will give it that much. It looks unspectacular, with as little wheel spin as possible, with as little moving around and so on. However, that's the way to get a good time. We are a little bit wide on the way into Rocket. God, the back end just suddenly lets go through there. I don't know if there was a gear, if the box wanted to change up. I thought we were fine going around that corner. Everything was under control, everything was good, and then suddenly back end just wasn't where I was expecting to be. If you could see where all of a sudden went very badly wrong. I'm flat all the way through. I'm not sure I should have been. We've got away with that on the bumps. It's almost up to 80 miles an hour into the final corner. We're chucking it through there. Oh no, we're going to skewer it on the wall. Oh, bugger. Yeah, I mean, I was curious to see what it could do. We threw it at the final corner. It was worth a try. It almost paid off. We actually almost managed to carry enough speed. It was a little bit too much in the way of rotation there. And that car is probably never getting out of that barrier situation there. That's quite well crash welded. Not a lot of damage. It's kind of gone straight through the... oh, you wouldn't want to be in the back seat. In the passenger seat, it's okay. It's actually missed, but yeah, back seat would be an uncomfortable place to be. Can carry, yeah, it's decent speed through NASCAR. I was trying to do as little steering movement as possible to carry that speed, and we've clonked the Mount of Doom on the outside. Oh, this has gone quite poorly wrong. That's gone very badly wrong. Well, we were going wide anyway, might as well throw it at the motorway. Yeah, I left it a slight bit too late. I was trying a little different line into the final corner, and it didn't work. It didn't work at all. Is that going to be a well-behaved tyre? Nope, it's like a drunk, stumbling tyre, and now it's going... No, tyre, you're supposed to go nice, well-behaved down the motorway for comedic effect. Instead, you've bumbled both ways across it, and now you've fallen over. Yeah, definitely a drunk tyre. That's our problem! We've got drunk wheels on our car. So, I should point out, I have switched to a manual gearbox. I didn't realise initially when I spotted this configuration that it was a automatic, and on this course, the auto is terrible. It really... doesn't work down here. So we have put in a manual. I don't normally mess around with the configurations of the cars. I think that's something we might come to later for sort of comparison's sake and whatnot. But for this, just for enjoyment factor for me driving and for any sense of fairness for the car, a manual is very much needed. And it immediately makes the car considerably better. I have to say, I am liking the Grand Marshal, the way it deals with the dirt. When I had the custom one, again, I said similar things. Actually, really good fun. You wouldn't expect the big barge, well, okay, this isn't a saloon car anymore, but yeah, the big coupe to be amazingly good across the dirt. But it is one of the more enjoyable rear-wheel drive cars that we have taken down there. Now, the hairpins, we're not as massively fast accelerating towards some of these corners, so we can be quite late on the brakes. I'm hoping that we can kind of string everything together. It's smoothness that we can get with this car over the custom. You know, it's not leery, it's not sideways. I can be full throttle quite a lot of the time, actually, down this course, up to 83 miles an hour. Which isn't too bad at all. The speed, it's around the final corner we go for the sports coupe and across the line. And at the stadium, nope, we're not going to get into the stadium. I'll tell you what, though. For a flat-out attempt at getting into the stadium, it doesn't care. Not a single care in the world about that, apart from the radiator leaked. There's a bit of suspension damage. The Grand Marshals are tough. Steering isn't quite as good as it once was, but yeah, great fun car to drive down here. A lot less mad, a lot easier to drive down the course in this configuration. Whether I'll have been able to be smoother, whether I'll be able to make up time with all of that, I do not know. But I like the coupe Grand Marshal. A little bit odd looking initially. Once you get used to it, I think it's a really cool body style. Up next, we have got a moonhawk, but this, as you can see, not an ordinary moonhawk. This off-road version of the car has been massively raised up. It is still rear-wheel drive, so it should be a quite slidey thing to get down the course. I mean, the suspension and so on, very, very strong on this. But we're not really got bumps and jumps for the car to deal with unless I lose control and we go plummeting off the side of a cliff. The engine in this one, supercharged, 5.5 litre V8, I believe the same engine that we had quite possibly in the Grand Marshal. It's another one that I've taken out the automatic gearbox in because I didn't want it. Now, we should have no problems running through this dirt section. I'm just out of curiosity. Oh, okay. We can hit the Mound of Doom on the outside, although if you do hit it, it still launches the car around the place. What is the turning like into the cat attack hairpin? Yes, it's not bad. I mean, we can get on the power pretty well out the other side. Of course, all of this off-road stuff for the car probably not going to help it in terms of handling when it comes to the tarmac section. A higher centre of mass isn't good. Probably won't help with the oversteer and so on. It's a bit bouncy. Not terrible, all things considered. So that's, yeah, good to know. Although I'm going to have to be a little careful with the old power. Now, of course, it should be faster accelerating than the Grand Marshal here, but it may well not be as controlled as that car. Oh, God, it's definitely going wrong into NASCAR. That's one way to take the corner. Oh! That's one way to take it. Not a great way. Not a great way. It was kind of a keep your foot down and hope that you can kind of just slide your way through it. Because if I'd started trying to slow down at all, it would have just transferred all the way forward and we would have spun regardless. So, yeah, no real good way around that one. But there we go. Well, the good news is that this isn't as difficult to drive as I feared it might be. You know, but my fears with the thing being jacked up and suspension focused towards off-road. Well, this is the sport version of the off-road Moonhawk. Oh, God, that's not something you want to hit with a rear wheel. That is not something you want to hit at all with a rear wheel. We've found some trees. We are one with the trees. We are a camouflage Moonhawk. Damage-wise, very little, but it was just enough to throw us off the road. That's a nice exit. Get the focus on that exit. Get the run towards this next corner. Speed-wise, about the same. So despite same engine, but with a supercharger as the Grand Marshal, this thing about the same speed-wise. Oh, that's too much. That's too much around the final corner. It was worth a go. It was worth a go. I thought we might be able to get away with getting on the power where we could, but no, it just kept understeering its way down there, and we gave it a try. And that's how it ended. Well, we did cross the line eventually. Well, I have to say, so far, in terms of spectacular crashes, the Moonhawk isn't exactly going to be winning. It's not a bad car to drive down here. In many ways, it is perhaps... It looks crazy, it sounds good at everything, but it's just not massively spectacular. It's easy enough to drive, it's quite quick without being ludicrous, and put that all together, and it's neither spectacular to drive, and when you make mistakes, they tend to be fairly minor, and therefore you don't really have a particularly big crash. Having said that, there is a very good chance that I'm going to pin it in a wall somewhere down here now in the most impressive of fashions, but so far everything we have seen is just not quite trending towards that. It can happen on this course, the nature of this circuit, when you get these sort of medium speed cars that are relatively nice to drive. You can just find a nice groove, and yeah, not much goes on with them. I'm impressed with the way that this car behaves itself. I'm impressed with the way this car behaves itself in the massively jacked up muscle car. Very controllable when it comes to driving around on the tarmac. If anything, can bounce around on the dirt more. Yeah, the off-road car having problems with the dirt, but there we go. One more corner to go with this one. Last time we got a big amount of understeer. That's much nicer through the final turn, and across the line we go with the Moonhawk. Oh, it's a good attempt. Good attempt at clearing the stadium, but not quite. Yeah, handling pretty good. Pretty good for what it is. Power acceleration, not bad. It's certainly not going to be competing with the race cars at the top of the table. Where it's going to fit in amongst the road cars should be a interesting one. An interesting one indeed. The final car to go today, well, we're sticking with the V8 theme. This is the last Barstow, kind of a Mad Max style vehicle. That's what it reminds me of. Anyway, we got sort of new front end, huge amount of power, race tyres on it. We've got 2 aero bits going on at the back. That might help. I think there's too much power for that to be of any use. I think we're just going to be sideways everywhere. But, you know, there is some hope. Yeah, with race tyres, should have some grip when it comes to the tarmac. The downside, of course, is that on the dirt, probably not. That composure that we enjoyed from the Grand Marshal. Oh, God, nope, it's not got the grip. There is no grip. There is no grip at all, and we've completely collapsed the rear suspension in one hit. We've lowered, somehow managed to lower the rear right despite hitting the rear left. I'm not quite sure how we've broken that. Okay, so maybe a little bit fragile in places. Not very good at dirt. This could only go well. This is up to almost 90 miles an hour into NASCAR. We will get the turn, will we? It's going to be a big oversteering moment. Oh, no, not going to get the turn there. There's a lot of speed in this. It's not going to break the Formula 1 cars 120-something into NASCAR, but as far as, yeah, non-single-seater race cars go, that is very quick. I've got to be careful with the throttle, because the car will very easily go sideways, and it's trying to carry... Oh, God, it's trying to carry speed and not do silly mistakes, and we've just done a very silly one. Oh, we've broken it. Oh, we've lost a rear wheel. Oops. That's not good. That's not supposed to happen. Again, out of the second turn, we have got another good exit. I've got a wheel on the dirt. That's not going to go well. That's not ever going to go well. First roller of the day. First upside down trip across the map. I wanted to give myself, of course, as much turning as possible, but when you do that, you run the risk and just a few millimetres the wrong side of the track, and when you're on that dirt, you're done for. I tried to frantically bail out of it at the last second, but couldn't get it turned, so plonking the concrete and a fairly minor damage-ish. Can we get on the power nice and early? We can. There's a bit of a wiggle from both sides as we head up towards the 97-mile-an-hour mark into the final quarter. We've not made it. We've not made it at all. That tore the... Ooh. That's a lot of broken bits. There's a lot of speed in that car up towards the final quarter. Not many vehicles can get to 100 at all around this circuit, and the Barstow nearly did. But in doing so, we got the entrance to the quarter fine, but as the quarter tightens and tightens, we just ran out of grip. And, well, this is what happens when you run out of grip there. But, of course, being smooth with this much power on such a technical course is much easier said than done. Oh, no, I've done... I've done a dumb thing. Exactly the same as I was doing at NASCAR. The whole trying to make every millimetre of road count. Amazingly, all that's done is puncture the tyre. Like, the car bodywork, fine. Steering, well, I say steering, fine. We've not put a wheel out of alignment. It's just punctured the tyre. That's a new one. I think that is a first for this series. Once again, pick up that power, and once the car does start going, oh, we got a bit of a wiggle down towards NASCAR. Not quite what we wanted. However, we might be able to turn... No, no. Not able to turn that into something good. Damn. I say about throttle control. Yeah, I didn't have it there. That was it was too brave getting on the power. I thought we were good. I thought we were around the corner and sorted. But the car snapped, and in the... Well, when you're already very near the limits, when that snap happens and the concrete wall's there, that's a big mess for the front of the car. Well, funnily enough, the high-powered rear-wheel drive car on the race slicks, not amazing when it comes to the dirt. It's not the worst car I have driven around here. This requires a bit more finesse, a bit more patience than the likes of the Grand Marshal and Moonhawk that went today, and certainly a fair few other cars that have gone down here. You can get away a little bit with throwing this car around, but if I was aggressive with this as I was with the other two, it would just spin, because it just doesn't have the tyre grip to deal with the dirt and all of the power. And then we have the rest of the course. Once you get on the tarmac, of course, much more grip for the car. Throttle control still important around here. It's a very, very technical circuit, this. A lot of low-speed acceleration zones, and easy to excite the rear tyres, shall we say. I am preferring to go for the late apexes with this car. Focus on getting a good run out of the corner, make the most of the power when we can. Out of that second hairpin we go. Now, NASCAR has proved to be a little tricky for the Barstow, and it might prove tricky again. We got away with a rub on the wall without puncturing a tyre, which is nice. Across the Mound of Doom, up towards this final quarter. It was 99 miles an hour, didn't quite get 100 through there. Get on that power, it will be across the line for the Barstow. It's definitely not going to survive that. We almost managed to knock the engine out in that one. That would have been a good one. I like the car. I like the configuration of the car. I think it looks great. Yeah, reminds me very much of the Mad Max car, kind of in Barstow form of the Mad Max car. And yeah, it's a good fun car to drive around here. Ferociously fast accelerating. Outside of probably the drag cars, I can't remember how fast the Bolide Class A went. That was a little while ago in the Formula 1 car. Not much beats this in terms of acceleration, and it's, I think, a bit more composed than the FailRace Motorsport Moonhawk that we had go down here. Will be interesting to see certainly how it does compare to that, and how it does compare to some of the other race cars. So, on to the results, and the last Barstow would be the fastest of the day. It's a 123.7 to put the car into 12th place. Now, this is a very crowded area of the table. Between it and the ETK K-Series, less than a second separates the cars. It doesn't quite beat the FailRace Motorsport Moonhawk or the Bolide Corsa, the 200BX race car, but it is right there. Right in that little group of cars. Yeah, it's a decent time. A decent time, I think, perhaps just not quite quick enough through the corners to really compete with some of those other cars, or as fast as the Moonhawk in a straight line. We have to go further down, of course, to find the Grand Marshal and the off-road Moonhawk. The Moonhawk, the quicker of the two. 22nd place for that, a 131.0. It is a little bit down on the H15 Vanster, the Bolide Note, and so on, but still, that's not bad for a Moonhawk designed for, well, off-roading. It beats the Aerovet Covert. The Grand Marshal Coupe, interestingly, is a 10th faster than the normal Grand Marshal. And as I said, when I ran it, that Grand Marshal we run was the custom version, the more powerful car. So the Coupe, easier to drive smoother, still with decent performance, able to get a very comparative time down the course. Yeah, those are not bad times for road cars, for big road cars as well. They are not bad times. That, though, is going to be it for this video. As ever, I shall link all the mods used in the description so you can download them, have a go with them yourself. But thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.